should I do Roomperfect before or after the speaker setup? And I guess you know my answer. It's a sequence from top to bottom. So don't jump to Roomperfect and then change some settings. You have to let Roomperfect know what your speakers are like, how many speakers are there in the room, what your subwoofer is like, delays of your amplifiers, processing delays, and so on. And only then Roomperfect makes sense, because Roomperfect is not a kind of speaker calibration only. It is really something about room acoustics and matching your loudspeakers and the subwoofer to the room. And for that, of course, Roomperfect has to know the best or everything about your speakers and about your setup. So let's look at this Roomperfect menu here. I have to say we will talk about Roomperfect in a separate session, because we could easily talk 1 hour about Roomperfect alone. So I have to move that to later. But when you click on Roomperfect, you will see that you have to put in the distance to the speakers and to the subwoofers, and that is always done best and most precise by a laser tool. That is the very best here, and then you put in the distance here, and then you run Roomperfect. That also brings me back to one of the earlier questions about lip sync and distance to the center speaker. If the center speaker is way above the screen, for example, that's what you put in here. So that is the distance to the center, and if the distance is further because the center is higher or other speakers, that is where everything will be aligned in the right distance and delay in that sets. With woofers, subwoofers, it's a good trick to not measure just to the enclosure front baffle, but to measure at least to the cone or even to the back of the enclosure, which is a good acoustic trick to really make it match very well. And again, Roomperfect we will definitely cover in a separate session. After you have done Roomperfect, don't go backwards. So don't change the EQ of the speakers, don't change the delay of the amplifiers, don't change from large speakers to small speakers, or try different setups. Roomperfect doesn't know that you've changed it. So Roomperfect takes this first setup as it is, and don't go backwards in the menu. That's very, very important. Some people have also added Atmos speakers later without doing a new Roomperfect calibration, and that is going backwards. So if you have a new speaker setup, then you have to do a new calibration based on the new speaker setup.